I am the voice of Night Industry 2000's microprocessor, KITT for easy reference, a kit if you prefer.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for subscribing. We're officially in the Plaid zone. So today I wanted to just do my deep dive, my deep impressions on the Tesla Model S Plaid. However, by the time of you watching this video, you've probably seen hundreds of different Plaid reviews from different people from different perspectives. I wanted to do this a little bit differently today. I wanted to give my impressions, but also do some fact checking. Just making sure that you understand what the facts are, what's true, what's not true, and just get the perspective of a Tesla owner, Tesla enthusiast, not a fanboy, who holds Tesla faultless. I think they can make mistakes. I think there's room to improve, but I think they're an amazing company. I'm totally on board with their mission and looking forward to giving them some constructive feedback to make it even better. Okay, so we're gonna start with the outside, then we're gonna jump into the inside, and then we'll actually get into the meat of it and actually how it drives and so on and so forth. So let's jump right into it. All right, so starting with the exterior, it looks amazing, as you can see. It looks totally amazing, all in black. The chrome is gone, so that's a good thing. Everything else looks great. And people say, hey, you know what? This looks kind of boring. This does not look boring in my opinion. I think this looks aggressive and understated. Okay, so let me get this out the way first and give you a little bit of a tidbit that would typically come at the end of the video. I'm gonna give it to you now. Who is this Tesla Model S Plaid for? Who's it for, right? Why did they make it? Why focus on this crazy, powerful monster? And the reality is this car is to give a smackdown to gas cars, like Elon said, but more importantly, it's the car you need to have if you only need to have one car. That's the gist of it. This is the car that does everything. The daily driver, the performance car, the car that can tow, the car that can put your car seats in, all of your car seats, 2, 3 car seats in here, the car that can fit all your luggage, you can go camping in, the car that you can drag race, take to the track, beat everybody up. And that's really what it comes down to. This is the car of all cars. This is the car you need to have. So if you're a person who has a lot of supercars, who has tons and tons of different cars, and you can't daily them every day, right? You can't daily a McLaren or Ferrari or Lamborghini, but you want to have that performance at a moment's notice. And that's what this car is. That's the purpose of this car. To have if you only had to have one car, this would be that car, okay? So that's the gist of it. That's the why this car exists, right? But just taking a look at the outside of it, it looks very good design. And if you only had to have one car, you want a car that looks kind of understated. You don't want it to be too flashy. You don't want to pull up to, school or daycare or even work and look like you're flaunting. Instead, what you want is a car that's understated, that does look a little bit aggressive, but also looks understated and can blend in, right? So you're not the eye-catching person with the bright orange red car that's super low to the ground, lots of flares and fenders flying all over the place, or super loud. This is super quiet, understated, but also aggressive and sporty, and it's perfect. Okay, so why didn't they change the design? Why couldn't they do something different? I don't think they needed to do anything different. They established so much with the original Model S, both from a crash testing standpoint, as well as an aerodynamic standpoint. All they need to do is refine it and tweak it and make it perfect. This is the perfect version of the Model S, okay? The perfect version of the Model S. And that's what we have here. So when it comes down to it, what we need to ask ourselves is, why not? Why not do this? Why not have one car? If you only need to have one car, have this car. So you don't need to have sports cars for the weekends and a daily driver. You could have the one car that does everything, all right? If anything, I think what they could have done is just made the difference between the long range and the Plaid a little bit different, a little bit more specific, right? So maybe the Plaid was a little bit wider body, maybe had red calipers or something to differentiate it. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty good design. I love the design, love the car, love the look of it, love how it's understated, love how it can be flashy at times depending on how you dress it up. And that's what makes sense, all right? Wheels and tires are good so far. I like the lip of the older Arachnids, as I mentioned before, a little bit thinner, but I think these help. These at least give me a little bit more reassurance that they're not gonna bend when you hit a pothole, okay? Although I have seen a video of a certain Mr. Eric, Tesla Inventory, shout out to you, who did bend your rim. So I don't know about that, but at least it gave me some reassurance. And so far, knock on wood, that hasn't happened to us. All right, so at the end of the day, beautiful car on the outside, not too dissimilar. It is wider, as you can see. It is wider. You do see the front fascia has been changed up a little bit, more sharpened, more refined, more clean, more futuristic. Okay, walking around the back, you see those cameras on the fender and the flares there. Those cameras are coming out, and they stick out a little bit more because the back has been widened a little bit. Again, tires look really, really good. The car looks really, really good. Okay, this is the Plaid. The back diffuser is also really, really good. Talked about that. Nice. Overall, it's a really, really good design. The spoiler, it's okay. It could have made it a little bit better. It could have added some better designs to it. Something like some of the BMW M series who have spoilers like this on the lips. They could have done something like that, or something like the Maserati, who also has aftermarket spoilers on the lip that are a little bit more stylish. But if it does the job, it does the job. So no complaints there, okay? Otherwise, this is rock solid. This is rock solid. Loving the look of the outside. They could have done better with the lights. They could have diffused these lights. I would love to have seen them diffuse the lights the way that the Model X and the Model 3 and Model Y are. These are sort of the blinking LEDs where you can sort of see the individual details. I don't like that. I prefer a more diffused, cleaner look to match the diffused, clean look of the front LEDs or DRLs. All right, you can see how wide it is. You get that feeling of the stance of the car. Again, just taking a look right down the side here, right down the side. You see that? A lot wider than before, noticeably wider than before. Wider tires as well. We drop down so you can see a little bit better here. Okay, so this is the outside, this is the exterior. I am gonna miss the sunroof, but maybe I don't use it that much. The glass roof looks really good. It looks really solid. It opens up the cabin a little bit as well. And I'm not mad at it. Okay, so that's the exterior. Let's jump in and talk about the interior. All right, guys, we're in the interior of the car. And basically, it's also amazing. It's very futuristic. As I said in one of the last videos I made, it's very much a blend of the best of all that Tesla has to offer in terms of their cars. The best of the Model X and S, as well as the best of the Model 3 and Y, all combined into one, right? So I love the interior. I love the details. I love the door bins on the Model S for once. Finally, we have some door bins and some pockets to put things, which wasn't the case before. New configuration similar to the Model 3 and Model Y. Don't know that I love the feel of these buttons, a little bit plasticky. The older buttons, or the previous buttons, were a little bit better, more substantial. And this is more capacitive, which is fine too, it doesn't matter. But it's pretty straightforward. This material is nice, can get ratty a little bit ratty, or have some lint on it if you have clothes that rub up against it. But otherwise, it's rock solid. Everything is soft touch, much improved. The biggest thing I can say about the interior, obviously, is going to be the sound improvements, right? The sound dampening, being able to have such a quiet cabin. It's super, super quiet. As you heard before, if I was to open the door, you get a lot of these generators and these fans blowing up out here. Close the door, rock solid, super quiet, super quiet. So if you live in a crowded a city, urban area where it's very loud, or your commute is loud, bumper to bumper traffic, this is a great place to be to relax and pass the time. Okay, I'll talk about the yoke in a bit, but I want to start with the rest of the cabin, and I also want to point out and do some course correcting again for what people are talking about and what people are saying about this car, this interior. Again, people say it's luxurious. Some people say it is. Some people say it isn't. It really just depends on where you're coming from. Really depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming from a Mercedes-Benz or some other German automaker, high-end German automaker, you're going to have a lot more materials to be used. Right? A lot of more creature comforts, a lot of more features that are going to make you feel like, you know, it's more luxurious. LED lighting going across the entire cabin and being able to change the color of the lighting, things like that, different materials, different textures. I think this is nice. It's soft touch leather-like material. You got your carbon fiber, you got your trim here, and then you have some more soft touch and then a different material just to break up the textures there. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, so if you're coming from anything, you know, less than a luxury experience, a traditional luxury experience of luxury auto, then this is going to feel, you know, like a huge step up, especially coming from the Model 3 and Model Y, huge step up, lots more space, lots more width, right? In terms of where your legs being able to open up here, being able to move from side to side. It's a wider vehicle as it always has been. So that's no surprise there. But otherwise, it's simple, but it's also luxurious. Again, the best of Tesla. So if you had a Model S before, this is going to also feel like a step up. Okay, seats are super soft, the softest I've ever seen or felt for Tesla to have, and very comfortable and very supportive. Again, still doesn't have the adjustable headrests, but it's not that bad. Same design. They're all perforated and ventilated, and they actually blow this time. They blow the air out as opposed to sucking the air off of you, which is very ineffective. So very good, very good. Basically, when it comes to the seating position, you want to sit in a position that's comfortable to you, and you're able to rest your arms on these armrests here, okay? Speaking of the armrests are also redesigned. Again, they sit a lot higher than before, so you're right at arm's length, which is great, which puts a lot of the functionality of the touchscreen right at your fingertips. Again, depending on your seating position and how long your arms are, or whatever the case may be. I love this redesigned console, having the chargers here, and then having this multi-purpose situation here. Again, learning from the past of what Model S used to be and bringing it to the future of what Model 3 and Model Y brought to the table. Right? You have one cover to cover them all, and then you can slide them back and reveal different compartments, right? So this is really, really nice touch because it has 2 additional compartments down here, which typically was a problem for the Model S. You're trying to figure out the best center console solution. Going from no center console, the yacht floor, to coming to a new center console where your phone sort of sat here and was out of position for you to be able to use it. And then it had this cubby area below, to now having this, which brings everything into play. You have a drawer here, right, a cubby here where you can actually go in and store some things that you may want to have, but you don't have to have it in sight. You can also slide it away and keep it out of sight. And then you have the standard cup holders here, which are no longer beneath your arm. They're right in a good place for you to rest your arm. And again, you can hide these if you don't need them. So if you want to hide these away and not have this, right, you have this open compartment. If you want to hide this, you have this open compartment, and now you can store your additional stuff. But this is where you're going to have additional storage here, right? So if you think about the biggest, sort of use case here, we like to test that is when we go to the movies and we get those big movie cups, where are they going to sit? Definitely cannot fit in here. Before, there were cup holder sort of placers that you could space out and make them as wide as you want, and one could fit there. But the same situation is here. That's sort of the downside of this. You can only probably fit one big movie cup here. The other one, someone's going to have to hold, unfortunately. But that's the movie cup test. But in terms of this, just the usability of this is great. You can keep this open all the time, close it halfway, or you can close it all the way, right? And then when you need something, you come in here and you get what you need from out of here, or you have that additional situation. Whatever configuration makes sense for your needs, that's the way you can have it. Okay, so this is super, super good. Good job on Tesla for doing that one. The great design, great usability. I think this part of it, when you sort of push back to go here, just takes some getting used to. At first, I didn't like it, but then I think it just takes some getting used to. Just the fact that it's giving me the ability to have access to this stuff. Okay, so that's here, and then you have some additional storage down here as well. Okay, additional storage down there, which is also good. So lots of storage here in the Model S, including door pockets on the doors as well, on the passenger side as well. So that is really, really good. Happy to see all of that here. Really, really huge improvement. But as you see here, when I'm sitting here, you'll start to see that this yoke impedes on the screen. That's a big problem that I don't think Tesla has figured out a way to solve. From this perspective, which is my view, this is what you would see. So if I'm looking out the window, out the front windscreen, and I have anything that needs to be in this area, this steering yoke is going to impede my ability to see what that is, including the temperature. Right? I can't really see. So here's my exact view. I can't see the temperature from this particular view. I can kind of see it here, but when you pull this down and go straight, you're not going to be able to see that. So this is a little bit of an issue. Probably why this is, the reason why is because this is so rectangular and wide that it blocks a little bit of that. They should take a note from the Porsche Taycan, which is design the UI around the obstruction of the steering yoke. A Taycan has the steering wheel, and they design their interface to show items outside of where the steering wheel is going to be. I think Tesla can do the same thing, right? There's no reason that you can shrink this or move this around or do anything you need to do on the screen just to make it more usable. Okay, so Tesla has the ability to do that, and they can absolutely do that. One of the things I hear a lot is when you get in the car, there's this thing, oh, the car automatically shifts into drive and park. And no, the feature is simply called auto shift out of park. Auto shift out of park. So only when you're parked is it going to auto shift and go forward or backwards. That's it. Any other time you have to shift yourself. Okay, so let's just get that straight, get that clear. If you're about to take delivery, don't believe that it's going to automatically shift you to, drive or reverse based on a scenario, unless you are parked and you have to be in park. Okay. Going on to some other things, this swipe selector where I can swipe up and down, this does get some getting used to. It's not a very wide touch target. to be able to touch. It's not a very wide target, so you could actually miss it. You have to actually look at it where you want to swipe and make sure you're swiping the right direction. And they probably could have done a little bit better than this. I thought it would have been good to put some buttons or some paddles behind the yoke so you can tap or hold to go into one direction or the other, or one gear or the other. You also notice that you have the buttons down here that will come up and light up as well. And when you light these up, when these come on, if they are able to come on, you'll be able to select these and use that. I thought that could have been even a primary way to select the gear, and this could be a secondary way. But right now, this is just an emergency case, right? So if in case something happens, the screen goes out, these illuminate and make themselves available for you to be able to press them. All right, but overall, just driving the car in terms of getting it into gear is pretty straightforward. It takes some getting used to, but I think it could be a little bit better. Just looking at the design of this screen as a whole, this touch screen is amazing. It's amazing to now have the 17-inch, the full 17-inch screen that was vertical, now have it horizontal, right? So that's a really good thing, and out of the way. It's not popping up. It's not obstructing the line, the view line of your dashboard. It's right there. It's available. It's visible. Again, I just think it should be tilted to you a little bit more. That's just my thought. It needs to be tilted more towards the driver, because it was tilted more towards the driver in the previous Model S. Our previous Model S had that vertical screen, but it was tilted towards the driver, biased towards the driver. And even if you could tilt this, allegedly, if you could tilt this, that would be a lot better, just because it would be more focused. You reduce some of the glare that you're getting off the screen as well, and that would be a much welcome change. All right, otherwise, in terms of the cabin, I'll jump into the software in a minute, but otherwise, in terms of the cabin, pretty straightforward. I really like it. Love the rear seat that comes down. We actually had the center console for the previous Model S, which mimicked that same experience. The only difference now is that this is actually the best of both worlds, because it gives you the ability to have the console with wireless charging and cup holders, and you can put it back up and make it a seat. So now you can change it from a 2x2 to a 2x3 and make it the full scenario. All right, I'm not going to show you my back. I'm not going to show you the rear and the trunk of it, just because Tesla has figured out a way to deliver cars without delay, and part of that is missing parts. Tesla is not delivering these cars with the trunk sort of cover, the rear hatch cover that goes over there, or the floorboard that covers the lower compartment. That's part of the sacrifice of the delays, of the shortages. Part of the sacrifice there is that, hey, we're not delivering those cars. Now, if the option was to not deliver a car, or wait for your car just for a trunk, for a trunk cover, I get it. I'd rather take it now, get the trunk cover later. So no fault on you, Tesla. That's a shortage issue. The industry is feeling it. No slight to you, but that's what's happening right now. That's why people are getting their cars sooner rather than later, because some things are missing, some things are compromised. And of all the things that are compromised, I would rather it be something insignificant like that than to be something major. All right, I lied. I'll show you the trunk. This is what it looks like. Again, that parcel shelf, that cover over here, as well as this cover here is what's missing. And I'm not mad at that. Otherwise, soft touch materials all around. This goes all the way around, even on the hood. This used to be plastic up here, but this is now soft touch. This is all Alcantara suede-like material as well, so that's good. You would have a cover here. You would also have this cover here. This cover used to not be here. It used to be open space. Now we have a cover for it. This side has always been the subwoofer, but they did a better way to dress it up by putting some cargo capacity here, but putting a net so you can put something here that can sit. So that's good. This is as deep as it ever was, maybe a little bit of bulge here. And then there's something under here that isn't there on the X, but it is here for the S. That makes the floor sit a little bit higher than before, but I'm not mad at that, okay? Automatic latches here, automatic latches for the seats. Just unlatch them, you still have to push them down. I'm not mad about that. But otherwise, very good, very solid. The sound of the trunk is a lot quieter. You can't even really hear it. It used to be a loud beep that you couldn't control. So I'm not mad about that. Okay. Again, lots of good space back here. It's not any bigger than it was before. People say, oh, it's more spacious. It's not really more spacious. I think the depth of the seat might have gone down a little bit because the bolsters are a little bit bigger. Otherwise, it's the same seat, and maybe it just feels a little bit better. All right. This screen is active. It's on. It can work. I can turn it on. I can touch it, but it doesn't really do much right now. And I can see what people are talking about now when they say, hey, you know what? It's hard to see. Kids in a car seat or a booster seat, Definitely gonna have a hard time seeing this screen. Wish it was angled up more. Wish it was a tablet you could like take out and just look at and put wherever you need to put it. Otherwise, yeah, we're rock solid. Outside, we've got perfect trim alignment. Everything is lined up nicely. No issues, no quality issues, build issues. The build quality of this car is fantastic. The only issue I have, the only gripes I can make is a little bit of squeaking right here. It's probably this piece rubbing against this piece and you get a little bit of plasticky. I don't like that. Maybe there's some fix for that. Not so much on this side, but on that side you hear it a lot. And if you put your arms here, you'll hear it as you're driving and maneuvering. Okay, so we didn't get out that bad. We typically don't buy first run vehicles, first run for Tesla. We usually wait till they get to the end of their lives before they're getting ready to upgrade, and then we get those. But this is an exceptional case. And for this case, we didn't make out too bad. Okay, the other issue that we have here from a quality standpoint is just this. We've got some alignment issues here. Well, not an alignment, I think this is just basically too much of this rubber material, the seal improver, here. Nothing major, just cosmetic. We've got it there. Not on this side, but we also have it on the back as you see it hanging down a little bit right there. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. That could be an easy fix. I could probably fix that. So again, I'm not mad. There's people who've got a lot worse, a lot bigger issues, people whose doors don't close, whose handles don't work. All that is really good for us. So congratulations, Tesla. You've stepped your game up. This is an exceptionally built vehicle, and it's going to continue to get better with software updates over time. All right. In terms of the audio experience, I'm not going to play anything here, but in terms of the audio experience, it's pretty rock solid. Nothing major. I don't see a big difference or hear a big difference between the previous Model S and this one. Some people say the Model 3s is better, probably because the Model 3 is a little bit tighter, so the speaker's a little bit closer to you. Other than that, I don't really see that, but there's speakers all over the place. Speakers here, speakers down there. There's even speakers. Let me see if I can get the one up here. Speaker up here, and then one up there in the back as well, next to the coat hooks, which are also a good touch. All right, so that's pretty much what it is. I'm happy with the car, with the sound, with the features of it as well. So again, really solid cabin. I really feel like I've hit the apex of what Tesla has to offer. They've come a long way. We've been around for the entire journey, taking the leap in early 2014. And, we've been here ever since, and we've seen how cars have been built and gotten better and better over time. And this is an evolutionary leap from the previous generation.